So look, we are entering a new era. Everything is changing. The way we buy, the way we work, the way we live, and so does the way that people do business. We're entering what experts are calling the new arbitrage economy. And there are a bunch of 20-year-olds taking advantage of it to get paid as much as a doctor every month without having any previous work experience. More about that in just a minute. So look, if you click this short video, it's because you want to create an online business. So pay attention, because I'm about to show you how you can take advantage of this new arbitrage economy to start a business with virtually no startup capital, and that can get you paychecks like this in a matter of weeks. Now, I'd like to be 100% transparent here. So I have to say this. Just because I got these results doesn't mean you will. After all, I am the creator of the system. So I like to always make this clear at the beginning of any training, because my reputation and success are built on how transparent I am. So I certainly cannot guarantee that you will get results like the ones I've gotten, but what I can 100% guarantee is that what you're about to see are the results of other regular average people who are using this simple beginner-friendly business model that I'm about to show you. Like Joseph here, who wasn't making any money prior to September, and now in December is already at a 6-figure a year run rate with no prior experience. Or Michael, who just completed his 3rd month with this new business model at a total revenue of $37K at over 85% profit margin. Or Vaclav, who went from delivering Uber Eats to $10,000 a month in May and then went on to do $57,000 in the month of December. So in case we haven't met yet, my name is Iman Gadji. And if you're looking for the best business model to start as a beginner and do it without having to spend years working 10+ hour days just to get a decent income, and without having to sell thousands of units of a product just to pay for the cost of stock, and finally, without having to invest your hard-earned money in some risky opportunity that may end up costing you all of your savings, then this short video is just for you. I'm going to be showing you the 4-step plug-and-play business model that 20-year-olds all over the world are using to get paid just as much as doctors. And I'm going to deliver all of that to you, plus more, in just the next 33 minutes. So if you don't have 33 minutes to invest in your financial future, well, I guess this business model wouldn't be a good fit for you anyways. Now, if you stay here and watch this video until the end, I'm actually going to send you as a gift a plug-and-play step-by-step tutorial specifically for the 4th step, which is the one usually people struggle with the most. So that plug and play actually includes live examples of me doing it myself. And for everything that I'm about to show you guys here today, I want you to know that I'm speaking from experience. I've been making money online since the age of 2016. I'm the founder of an e-commerce clothing line, Gadji. I have an info product business. I have an online marketing agency. I have a YouTube channel with over 180,000 subscribers. I also have, at the time of recording this, an over 8-figure crypto portfolio. And I also make over $10,000 a month in commissions from various different affiliate programs. And the reason I tell you all this, and by the way, I don't recommend having so many different endeavors and stuff like that. You want to focus on one thing and succeed with it. Remember, a man who chases many rabbits catches none. But in my 6 years of being in online business, I have had experience trying with many of these different models. So that's why when I talk to you guys today about the different models and really just share both the pros and the cons for every single model, I am speaking from experience. So I'm going to be sharing all of that today in excruciating detail. So let's get started. So there are 3 reasons why this business model works so well. Number 1, it is a beginner-friendly business model. Number 2, it is an exploding industry, which means that demand is going through the roof, all the while not having enough people to supply such demand. And number 3, it takes advantage of the new arbitrage economy that the market is headed to, which means you get an unfair advantage for being there early. First, let me explain what a beginner-friendly business model is. And I'll do that by showing you the way most people approach starting an online business and why that's the reason that over 90% of them fail. Seriously, if you're trying to start a profitable online business, you don't want to do this stuff. It's deadly. So most people try to start making money with dropshipping or Amazon FBA or affiliate marketing or info products, but they never take the time to evaluate the business model on a fundamental level. So they never realize that those are not beginner-friendly business models. Now, they're all viable business models and you can make tons of money with them. However, some business models will allow you to make millions a month, but will be really, really hard to succeed as a beginner, and others will allow you to make 6 figures while being realistically attainable for beginners. Now, making this mistake is kind of like trying to start playing a new video game in the hardest difficulty instead of working your way up. So people end up spending tons of time spinning their wheels, and that results in them getting frustrated and most of the time losing all the savings they've invested in it. Now, what if you decided to actually evaluate how beginner friendly are the online business models available out there before risking your money on them? Well, let's do that together. There are 6 metrics that come into play when evaluating this: unitary gain, startup capital, profit margins, demand, fulfillment, and deal type. Now, unitary gain means how much money you make per transaction. Startup capital is how much money you need to invest to get the business off the ground. Profit margin is how much you keep out of everything you make in revenue. Demand is the number of people in the market looking to buy your product/service. Fulfillment is a process of delivering the product/service your customer purchased. And deal type is whether you get paid once or recurrently. Now let's use these metrics to judge the most common online business models. Now affiliate marketing is when you sell other people's products and get a commission from them. It has a unitary gain between $50 and $250 on average. This means that to make $10,000 a month with it, you would have to sell from 40 to 200 units. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to do that, but to sell 40 to 200 units of any product in a month requires a lot of marketing skill and capital to invest. Now, this takes us directly to our second metric, startup capital. To get started with such a business, it would require you anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to invest, which could all go down the drain if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Oh, and by the way, remember those $10,000 from the 200 units you sold? You don't think that's all profit, right? Because in order to get each one of these sales, you have to invest in ads, which usually costs anywhere between 60 to 90% of the final revenue, meaning at the end of the $10,000, you may only keep $1,000 to $4,000 at best. Now, the demand varies on a product by product basis, but while there are products with high demand, they usually also come with high competition in the space. Now, when it comes to fulfillment, this is the only perk of affiliate marketing in my opinion, because once the sale is done, you don't have to do anything else. The owner of the product takes care of the fulfillment. Finally, the deal type is usually one-off, meaning you get paid once for the sale and that's it. Next, let's look at Amazon FBA. Now, Amazon FBA consists of selling physical products on Amazon and letting Amazon take care of the shipment for you. Now, when it comes to Amazon FBA, the unitary gain is anywhere from $20 to $300. Here, you already face the same issue as we saw with affiliate marketing. You'd have to make 33 to 500 sales a month, which is a real challenge. Then the startup capital doesn't help either. You have to invest anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 in stock for product that you don't even know whether it'll sell or not, meaning you have the risk of getting stuck with all the stock and having no idea what to do with it. It's not fun, trust me. I've had this exact same issue with my e-commerce brand Gadget. Now, margins could be even thinner than affiliate marketing due to the cost of goods. Now, demand is the perk in this one because Amazon actually takes care of the traffic for you. But it doesn't get much better, since you still have to deal with part of the logistics of buying and managing inventory so Amazon can fulfill your orders, which is a pain in the ass, and you only get paid once for each sale. Next, let's look at dropshipping. Now, dropshipping consists of selling physical products, but instead of having to manage inventory, you ship the product directly from your supplier to the final customer. Now, dropshipping is pretty much a combination of the two scenarios above. You don't have the issue of having to spend money on stock, but then you have to spend a lot on ads to find the products that work. In fact, my agency has worked with a top dropshipping brand from a Scandinavian country, and in order to find one winning product, we had to test over 20 different products that all failed. So you have to have a lot of capital to burn through. Next, let's look at info products. Now, info products are ebooks, audiobooks, and online courses. Now, with info products, the scenario is very similar to affiliate marketing, but you have control over the price of the product, so you can have higher ticket items if you want. However, with control over the product also comes the responsibility of delivering the product yourself, which is the most difficult and time-consuming task of the whole business model. I myself have spent over 6 months of 2022 just recording the classes for one of my updated info products. That is a lot of time to invest in something if you don't have certainty that such product would sell. And as a beginner, you should be investing the majority of your time in selling, not fulfilling the sale. Finally, you have to have capital to invest in ads, testing, software, and more, which will have a similar effect on your margin as it did in the examples above. Now, for deal type, you can choose whether you want to sell your product as a one-off or as a recurring subscription. Ladies and gentlemen, now do you see why it is so hard to succeed as a beginner if you don't pick the right business model? So after going through all of them, the question becomes, what would be the ideal beginner-friendly business model then? Does it even exist? Well, let's take a look again at our table and together draw an ideal business model. Now, when it comes to unitary gain, ideally it should require just a handful of sales to get you to 10K a month so that it becomes a realistic and achievable goal. Now, this means it should sell for at least $1,500. Now, when it comes to startup capital, ideally it should be as close as possible to $0 because as a beginner, you don't want to be risking high amounts of money until you have a consistent source of income to pay for it. For margins, we will want something with very little cost so you keep pretty much everything you make. For demand, we want something with high demand so that it is not too difficult to get a sale. And for fulfillment, we want something that is easy to fulfill and doesn't take a majority of our time. And finally, when it comes to deal type, we want something that ideally is sold once and pays us recurrently every single month so that each sale stacks up on others and each month we have a higher payout than the month before. Now, with all these set criteria, I can confidently say there's one single solution that fits the bill. It is a service-based business that clients are willing to pay anywhere from $1,500 a month to $10,000 a month for, but not a one-time payment. A recurring monthly payment of $1,500 to $10,000 a month. Now, the startup capital is virtually non-existent. All you need is a business email and then you're good to go. The margins are very high. They can be upwards of 97% and 60% in the worst case scenario, depending on how you decide to fulfill this service. Now, before I talk about how 20-year-olds are taking advantage of the new arbitrage economy to get all the service fulfillment taken care of for them, I want you to think about the whole scenario the world has been going through the last 2 years and its impact on the way businesses operate. A lot of businesses saw their main sources of revenue vanish right in front of their eyes. and they were forced to move online to survive. And this process is still going on. Countless businesses in your city, in fact, probably right next to where you live, are desperately looking for someone to help them sell online. And the best part is, they're willing to pay top dollar for it. Imagine those gigantic stores or dealerships or gyms that you see. They are literally sitting on hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of stock, and they need someone to help them sell it. So for them, $10,000 a month is a measly fee in order for you to do that. And it's not just the gigantic stores, it is your local hair salon, it's your local realtor. They know that they need to start selling online, they need to start bringing the leads in from online, otherwise it's 2 to 3 years and they will be out of business. Now Sufyan is living proof of that. He managed to sign a local business from his hometown in Germany for a one-time fee of 15,000 euros plus a 2,500 euro a month retainer in just 1 month of using this business model. And the best part is, the demand for such services is way higher than the number of people who can deliver them. Meaning there's a gigantic gap in the market, and the people who take advantage of this opportunity are inevitably going to do well. So if you haven't guessed it yet, the business model is selling ROI marketing services for small businesses. Now that's the exact business model that Jermaine used to go from working full-time, having to take the tube into overpopulated central London every morning, to now hitting his first $5,000 a month profit in his first 6 months, all from the comfort of his own home. Now, Michael also used this business model to make 6 figures in 5 months selling ROI marketing services for local businesses, after spending 6 entire years failing at other online ventures such as affiliate marketing, Shopify, eBay, and more. Now, I'll explain in detail what exactly ROI marketing services are in just a minute. Just know that this might be one of the best opportunities of the decade right in front of your eyes. Now, let's take a step back here, because you're probably asking yourself, okay, but I don't know how to actually help these businesses sell online. And that leads us directly to this new and unique opportunity of the new arbitrage economy. You see, it's really simple. The businesses that are succeeding in the new economy are not the ones that own the final solution, but rather the ones that connect the end consumer to the final product and set their own prices for doing so. For example, Expedia doesn't own any hotel room or airplanes. They simply connect hotels and airlines to customers who are looking to travel. And in the end, their net profit is actually higher than the airlines and hotels themselves. Uber does the exact same thing. It connects drivers to people who need a way of transport without owning any cars or drivers. Airbnb doesn't own any houses or apartments. Alibaba doesn't have any stock. Even TikTok, one of the biggest content production apps, doesn't produce any content. The content creators do that for them. All these businesses are simply arbitraging supply and demand. They find customers with a problem and connect them to a solution, all under their brand, so they can have a solid markup on their services. And what we do is the exact same thing through what I call contractor arbitrage. We simply find contractors to do great and inexpensive work for us. And that's exactly how Jordan is making $7,500 a week and planning to scale up to $50,000 a month in the next few months. So what we do is we sell ROI marketing services to local businesses or small online e-commerce brands and get someone else to fulfill it for us. And we make from $1,500 to $10,000 per month per client for it. And that is why this opportunity is for anyone with no prior experience or skill. Now, Nicholas is the perfect example, making more money in 48 hours than he did working 2 months at his day job. And that's why this is the perfect beginner-friendly business, because you don't have to deal with inventory or shipping. You don't have to make hundreds of sales to make a decent income. You don't have to invest thousands to get the business running, and someone else takes care of the fulfillment for you. So let me actually show you how to start making money with your own ROI marketing agency through our 4-step plug-and-play system. I like to call it the 4 steps to $10,000 a month agency in the next 90 days. And here's what we do. Number 1, setup. Number 2, pick. Number 3, arbitrate. And number 4, reach out. And when you execute this process correctly, you should be able to get 3 to 4 new clients per month. Now at $2,000 a month each, that's $6,000 to $8,000 in new monthly recurring revenue each month. That's $72,000 a year on the lower end and $96,000 a year on the higher end. And remember that with each new client, this result compounds. Now, to make this much in a regular job takes a lot of qualifications, decades of work experience, and slave-like hours. Now, when you start an agency business, $100,000 a year is the norm. So let's talk about step number 1, setup. Now, here's basically where you get to choose the name of your agency. And all I can say is don't overthink it. I mean, all you need to do is look at my agency, IG Media, which makes no sense. I started my agency 5.5 years ago, and at first, for the first 2-ish years, it was a creative agency. So we were actually shooting content, social media stuff for our clients. But for the past 3.5 years, we have been exclusively advertising only. So my own name doesn't even make sense. Yet I have no issues pulling in over 7 figures a year from my agency. So really all I can say is just pick one and roll with that. Now the next step is to buy the domain for your agency's name and set up your business email. And that's pretty much all the startup costs you're gonna have. Now, the reason you want a business domain is that way when you're reaching out to clients through email, you want it to look as professional as possible. So no @Gmails or @Hotmails here. In fact, you don't even need to build a website for your agency in order to get started. Back in 2017, I scaled to $15,000 a month with no website for my agency. And there you go. The first step is done. Now, the second step is to pick a niche and a service. And this step is super, super important because when you get this right, you'll get clients 10 times as easy. There's a few questions you have to ask yourself here. The first is your client making at least $10,000 a month already? Now, the reason this is important is if you try to work in a niche where businesses make on average less than $10,000 a month, realistically, they won't be able to pay for your fee. For example, piano teachers, tennis instructors, and small restaurants. Those are all bad niches to work with because they don't have much money, so the math never really works in their favor. Examples of good niches would be real estate agents, solar panel companies, successful offline stores looking to move online, e-commerce brands, law firms, pool installation services. The list goes on and on. Notice those are all businesses that have on average high revenue numbers and especially high average order value, which is basically the value customers pay them per transaction on average. Because this way, you only have to bring them a handful of new deals each month for them to get a return on investment on your service fee. I'll give you an example. An in-ground pool installation costs, on average, $35,000. So if you're charging them $5,000 a month and you manage to get them 1 to 2 new clients per month, they will be making a 7 to 14x return on the amount they're paying you. The second question you need to ask yourself is, do you understand the mechanics of this niche? Now, let me tell you what I mean by this question and why it's so important by telling you the story of how I picked my accountant. When I was looking for an accountant around 4 years ago, I had a ton of different options. Now, these are all good accountants, but when I explained what I did and the payment processes that I used, they just went, all right, cool. Now, at the end of the day, I had an online marketing agency, very progressive, so a lot of them just stared at me because they simply had no idea what I was talking about. Now, when I went to the accountant that I'm actually working with, after hearing what I did, they said, awesome, do you guys run Facebook ads or SEO? And then they said stuff like, I'm assuming you use Stripe? And then they went on to talk about the best practices for online service-based businesses. Then of course, I went for that accountant because they understood my business model and spoke my language. Now that's the exact same experience Michael had. He posted in our private community that in his first month, he managed to sign 5 paying clients out of 8 sales calls he had. In his own words, my biggest advice would be to choose a niche that you're familiar with and can speak the language. It helps build trust so well, which leads to sales. And when you stick to one niche, it'll be easier to create processes and systems that streamline your whole agency. So whenever you sign a new client, it's just a matter of running them through this plug and play system you've built. Now, it is okay to experiment a bit with different niches at first, but once you find one that works for you, stick to it. Now, the next thing is service. The key to choosing a service to offer to these clients is picking an ROI service. Now, what is that? It is simply a service that you can track a clear return on investment generated from it for the client. It is result-based or revenue-driven. So here's a few examples. Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, email marketing, content creation, copywriting, SEO, Instagram growth, web development, marketing automation, just to name a few. And I can tell you that inside of the Grow Your Agency community, which is my education company, for every one of those services, there are people making $30,000 a month and beyond with them. Just like Ben, who got himself a brand new BMW with the profits from his agency services. So for whatever service you offer, you can scale it up and make it work. Now, let me actually show you how to get your ROI service delivered for you using step 3 in our 4 steps to 10K a month agency in the next 90 days system. Step number 3 is arbitrate. Now, have you ever actually looked at how the big scale agencies operate? The ones with all those swanky offices and hundreds of employees. They have a very simple business model. They pay their employees $15 an hour and they charge their clients $50 an hour plus and simply pocket the difference. They just figure out how much to charge a client based on the number of hours that the project will take and how much they're paying their employees. And then they will add an extra 100 to 300% markup on top of that. That is literally their entire business model. And what we're gonna do is something even smarter. Instead of hiring an expensive marketing graduate with no real experience and having to deal with all the risks that comes with a typical employment relationship, such as fixed payroll and long time frame contracts, we're going to hire a contractor who already has experience with the services we're offering, and we're going to do so on a per service basis. Now, this means that in the first place, we won't have any risks on our end because we'll only pay our contractor once we already got paid. So you literally won't ever have to pay anything out of pocket. Now, this is what I call contractor arbitrage, and it's exactly what the companies of the new arbitrage economy do. Think about it. Whenever a new driver registers to Uber, Uber as a company doesn't have any added risk to it because this driver literally doesn't cost them any money, all while adding potential new revenue to them. And it's only after the driver generates such revenue that Uber pays them their fee. It's free cash flow for their company. Now, we're doing the same. You get paid by clients at the beginning of the month and you pay your contractor at the end of the month after he delivers the services. This way, you will never rush into cash flow issues and you will never have to pay anything out of pocket. And the craziest part of all of this is that it is actually cheaper to hire an experienced contractor who speaks impeccable English from countries like South Africa, New Zealand, Peru, Colombia, Brazil, Pakistan, Indonesia, Philippines, and a bunch of others than it is to hire someone who just graduated with a basic marketing university in the US and has literally zero experience. Just to give you some perspective, my CMO at IG Media, Danny, is from Colombia and has been working with me for over 3 years at this point. My lead media buyer is from Brazil and has been working with me for almost 2 years, and I've hired multiple media buyers from South Africa and Brazil. Now you can come up with different deals, but the way our students usually structure their deals with contractors is they pay them anywhere from $250 to $1,000 per month per client. Then they charge these same clients anywhere from $1,500 to $10,000 per month. Now, when me and Danny first started working together, he was charging me $600 per month per client, and I was actually selling those services for $3,500, $5,000, even up to $10,000. Now, you can work this out depending on your retainers and the amount of work each client requires. I personally suggest never going below 60% margins just to keep your agency as profitable as possible. And the best part is you're making a real difference in the life of contractors, because if they were to work doing the same job in their own countries, they would work way more and make from 5 to 10 times less when getting paid in their local country's currency. Now, of course, I'm always transparent with contractors regarding how much I was charging clients, and I suggest you do the same. Now, the next question is, how do you find a contractor to work with you? It's simple. You find them online. Now, you can look in a lot of different places like LinkedIn, Upwork, or other business-related and job listing social platforms, but by far my favorite place is to find them in Facebook groups. Now, you can find Facebook groups closely related to the topic of your service like Facebook ad buyers or SEO ninjas, and these places are crowded with good potential contractors. Think about it. If someone is actively engaging in Facebook groups to develop their expertise and knowledge, that's a pretty good sign. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. The best type of groups with the highest quality of contractors available are the closed communities for info products and software that teach what you offer as a service. So groups for paid programs that teach Facebook ads or SEO or whatever your service is. And usually you can get your job listing posted in those groups by contacting the admins, because it's actually in their best interest to offer job opportunities to their students/customers. So that's how you take advantage of the contractor arbitrage to get all the service fulfillment taken care of by an experienced professional without you having to do any of the work yourself. It is a truly beginner-friendly plug-and-play business model. Do you see now why literally anyone can do this? And I do mean anyone. Even guys like Binay, who is from Nepal and is already signing clients for his agency in his first few weeks with this business model. How awesome is it that this beginner-friendly business model is allowing people to make 5 figures a month from the comfort of their own home, even from third world countries? I mean, it's just nuts. Now, with that done, we finally get to our fourth and last step, which is reach out. Now here, you'll finally start reaching out to potential clients and presenting them with what you have to offer. Remember, if you take advantage of contractor arbitrage, you won't have to deliver any work yourself. So outreach is where 80% of your time should be spent as an agency owner. This is really the key to everything you want in life. Now, I want to make sure that you assign the majority of your time to do this task. There's people in my program who have 2 hours a day, and there's people who have 8 hours a day to build their ROI agency. Whatever the number of hours you have, use them well here, okay? With that being said, there are a few main ways to do outreach. There's cold calling, there's cold email, there's video audits, there's LinkedIn outreach, there's Instagram outreach. Those are just 5 out of dozens of tactics you can use to set meetings with potential clients. The key here is to pick the one that best suits your personality. Now you can see this is actually how I got all of my initial clients, through sending video audits. Now after sending 2,000 plus video audits, I've perfected a formula that I'm going to give you step by step in just a second. Now this is actually a plug and play directly from my paid program Agency Navigator, and it's called the Targeted Loom Plug and Play. Now Loom is a program that lets you record your screen and webcam easily and is the best to use for video audits. Now this plug and play is a step-by-step breakdown of exactly what to say when sending a video audit to a prospect. Now that's the exact strategy that Jordan used to quit his 9-to-5 job and sign 8 e-commerce clients to his agency, getting him to $20,000 a month in under 6 months, working less than 8 hours a day. And I even added 3 live examples of me sending video audits to various niches within this framework. Now, as I said, I'm going to email this plug and play directly to you or leave it in the link of the description after you watch the entire video. It will make your life 100 times easier, trust me. Now, once you start sending these Loom video audits and kind of tweak a few things, business owners will start reacting positively. Then what you should do is jump on a call with them, present your offer, and close them. Key here is to not be afraid of charging what you're worth. Remember, don't think how much it costs you or how much time it takes you. Instead, focus on how much money is this problem worth to your client if you can solve it. Remember that most small to medium-sized businesses already have running costs of $30,000 to $100,000 a month just to operate. I mean, if you go look at that small local gym, they probably pay, $20,000, $30,000 a month, between rent, staff, insurance, etc., etc. So as I said, to these businesses, an extra $3,000 a month really isn't nothing, or $3,000 or $1,500 a month, it really isn't that much. Business owners want to spend money on marketing because they see it as an investment and they know that it will bring returns. Now, when you choose your niche and service correctly, you should be able to charge from $1,500 to $10,000 a month, just like Jeff, who signed a realtor for $25,000 from cold calling and another $25K from a loom he sent through LinkedIn. Now, I know this all sounds super exciting, but a quick word of warning. If you try to do this alone, you'll probably spend a few months initially figuring out how to make this work. Now, this could happen because number one, you picked the wrong niche or service. Number two, you don't know what to look for when you're hiring a contractor, or you might be making a few specific mistakes in your outreach efforts that could get your response rate close to zero. But if you can solve these problems, the rewards are definitely worth it, because the reality is there's unprecedented demand for online marketing services since the quarantine started to hit most countries, and there's simply not enough people to fulfill such demand. So if you ever wanted to be early for something big, this is it. And now is the time to take advantage of the new arbitrage economy by using the most beginner-friendly business model that there is, an ROI online marketing agency. So the question becomes, how can you get results like this? Like the dozens of people that I've showed you here in this video? Well, the first option is to take the information I've given you today and really just to try to figure out by yourself. It's definitely a viable option, and if you feel it's best suited for you, please go ahead. However, know that you'll most likely lose some valuable months, or maybe even years, trying to figure everything on your own. And long term, it's probably going to be more expensive considering that you miss out on all the extra money you could have made if starting out the right way from the get-go. Finally, your chance of quitting just goes way up if you get stuck and don't have support. And that's pretty much why I created Agency Navigator, a program where I take you by the hand and show you exactly every single thing you need to do to go from $0 to $10,000 a month with your agency in a record time. Now that's your second option, choosing to join the program with the best success stories in the industry. Now, every single success story you've seen during this video has gone through my programs where we take complete beginners with no previous experience in marketing or business, and we help you create your own marketing agency from scratch, hire a contractor to deliver the services for you, and show you our plug and play process to get clients on demand who pay you $1,500 to $10,000 a month. Because when you do it with help from experts who have walked the path that you want to walk, it not only goes faster, but it also ends up being cheaper in the long term. A bit of well-placed advice can get you unstuck and give you confidence by having a proven process to follow. Not to mention, it's way more fun to do it this way. So if you just got a few minutes, let's look at what's inside Agency Navigator. Now, Agency Navigator is way more than just a course. The course is really just a part of it. It is the best result-oriented learning experience you'll ever have. Period. Agency Navigator is composed of over 40 hours of step-by-step training covering every aspect of building an agency from scratch. It's almost a plug-and-play system. We cover in excruciating detail the whole process of finding leads, reaching out to them, selling, signing clients, getting paid, onboarding clients, hiring contractors through arbitrage, running Facebook ads, and more. This program has everything covered for you. Now, this program is broken down to 7 phases. Now, phase 1 is foundations. Here's where we help you set up your agency structure step by step so that way you can get your business up and running at record speed. Choosing a name, setting up an email, choosing your niche and service, and more. Phase number 2 is mindset. Now, have you ever wondered what's the difference between the people who scale to 6 figures from the ones who never seem to make it? Well, here you'll find out. Now, I'll show you what it really takes to achieve success. And even though this is not a technical phase, it is the one that students say causes the biggest impact on them and their results. Phase 3 is systems and processes. Now, this is a game changer. You'll learn how to set up your agency for success with corporate structures, how to do taxes and accounting the right way, how to get paid, how to properly price your services based on your niche. You'll also get a sneak peek at how we communicate with clients and my own agency, IG Media. With such systems and processes in place, the sky will be the limit for your agency. Inside our program, we have people like Johnny, who just broke $100,000 a month with his agency by streamlining his processes. Now, phase 4 is finding leads and setting meetings. Now, after going through this phase, you'll have no trouble setting meetings with potential clients. We cover the best strategies for cold email, cold calling, Instagram outreach, LinkedIn, and Upwork, showing you what's actually working right now. Phase 5 is sales. This is simply the most important factor for running any business. Here, you'll learn how to close clients for $1,500 to $10,000 in marketing services. You'll get to see real-life examples of me closing clients from my own agency, plus you'll get access to the exact same updated sales script I use, which has generated over $1 million in agency sales so far. With such training comes results like Ricardo's, who went from $10,000 a month to $14,000 a week in closes and even stopped counting after surpassing $40,000 for the month. Phase 6 is service delivery. Now, this is Agency Navigator's largest and most in-depth phase. It was created by my own media buyer and performance marketing team to take anyone from scratch to advanced practitioner at delivering marketing services for your clients. Now you can learn everything yourself, so that way you'll actually be able to deliver all of your services on your own, or just give it to your contractor so that way they can sharpen their skills and become a master. This includes Facebook ads, funnels, copywriting, ad creatives, tracking, lead gen, e-commerce, local businesses, and iOS specific guides. Phase 7 is operational supremacy. Now this is where you'll learn how to set yourself apart and become a 1% agency. You'll get to steal the tricks and strategies from my own marketing agency to find the best contractors, maximize revenue and profit, and refine your business model so that you can remove yourself from your agency. If you follow the steps in this phase, you'll soon be like Jamila, who's getting new closes for her agency passively while out having drinks with friends. Now, for this program to be a real plug-and-play system, we really need to go the extra mile. That's why we have decided to provide you with ready-to-use templates for the most important and daunting tasks of setting up your agency. This includes over 25 plus professionally designed website templates for your agency. This includes template contracts and agreements that you can use with clients. This includes my ultimate sales script that, as I said, I've refined for years, and the most recent one is responsible for generating more than $1 million in revenue already. This includes high-performing ad examples from 15 different niches to model for your clients. And it also includes the client onboarding template. This is a plug-and-play system that you can send to newly signed clients so that you can provide them the best experience and get all the information and access you need to start working with them without having to move a finger or send any messages. And the best part is that your current situation has zero impact on your chances of success with this business model. The majority of people who join Agency Navigator start out from step 0. And we even get people like Elazar, who went from not being able to afford rent and getting evicted from his apartment in Portland to building a $20,000 a month results-driven agency and having his own studio in a beautiful city in a matter of 1 year's time. All of that at the age of 19. Now, we weren't satisfied with the usual online course platforms. They just weren't powerful enough. We needed more. That's why I decided to invest over 7 figures, over $1 million in research and development to build our own custom platform to not only host the course, but also provide you with the tools that we will need in order to run your agency and that you have to pay for otherwise. Inside our custom platform, you'll have access to financial planner to track your agency's revenue, expenses, and net profit, a plan of attack scheduler and to-do list, an outreach tracker so that way you can hold yourself accountable with your outreach efforts, a client revenue calculator to estimate how much a potential client is making and know exactly how much you can charge them, as well as a break-even ROAS calculator so that way you know exactly what KPIs you have to hit in your ad campaigns in order to get profitable results from your clients and yourself. Now, these are only a few tools you'll find inside the platform. Now, research after research shows that the main driver for positive student results in any program is not the content itself. The content is an essential part of the learning experience, but not the main driver of success. What actually dictates the success of a program is how engaged the student community is. Meaning, it doesn't matter if you have a 10 out of 10 course if you don't have an awesome community that holds its members together. And that's why we decided to create our own exclusive private mastermind community inside of our custom platform. This is the perfect place to meet and network with fellow agency owners, get your questions answered, find accountability partners, see sales debriefs from other agencies, and celebrate your wins. Now, a lot of our students actually consider the community more valuable than the course itself. Like Yegor, who signed his first client at $2,000 a month plus 20% performance fee and said, quoting him, "This is the strongest and most inspiring community on the internet, and I cannot put into words how much I appreciate you guys." Plus, every month, the best students who are closing clients consistently actually get added for free to a more exclusive group where they receive extra coaching directly from our top team members to keep the momentum going. Students also love to post whenever they sign a new client, and we have the tradition of photoshopping yourself catching a fish or a shark or a whale whenever that happens. Now, that's actually a reference to our client tier system we have at Great Agency. The first tier is a fish, and this is a client who pays $1,000 to $3,000 per month. You get a couple of these clients and you're already making a full-time income. And we have students catching fish every day. Now here's actually Marquez catching 5 fish. His post is also a good reminder that there's no such thing as not succeeding with this business model. It took him longer than usual to catch his first fish. You know, our students, it usually takes 90 days on average. But once he did catch his first one, he managed to catch 5 fish in a 1-week period. You just got to keep pushing and know that your time will inevitably come. The second tier is a shark. Now this is a client who pays $3,000 to $8,000 a month, and this is where you're getting into more serious territory. One of these clients and you can quit your job. It's also a proud day when students sign their first shark. And you can see Alex right here who caught a $4,000 a month shark. Oh, and also here's me riding a shark in one of my own sales debriefs. And the third and most prestigious tier is a whale, and that's a client who pays $8,000 a month, and this one client alone will almost bring you to the $1,000 a year mark with your agency. And this is really the greatest catch of them all. They're really the North Star for everyone in the community. You can see Adele here posing right next to multiple whales. He's making $42,000 a month just with the base fee he charges clients, not including the performance fee, which is a common practice between our students as well. His next aim is to reach $100,000 a month. Now, you know what's the main reason people fail with online education programs? The reason is that they go through courses and inevitably end up having a lot of questions along the way, but have no expert advice to answer said questions. So they get stuck and end up getting frustrated and giving up. And it's what I call the failure cycle. With that in mind, we created a weekly live Q&A call with dedicated coaches so that way you can unmute your microphone, ask whatever you want, and get your questions answered by specialists who work at Great Agency, as well as IG Media and partner companies. Now, if you look at Adele's post again, he actually mentions that before getting to $42,000 a month, Kieran, who's actually our product manager at Great Agency, helped him come up with a plan for his agency moving forward. A bit of well-placed advice can help you get unstuck, especially from professionals who are dealing with agency clients and practicing their marketing skills on a daily basis. So let's review everything you get when you join Agency Navigator today. Number one, full access to the Agency Navigator program. Websites, templates, funnels, ads, and more. Template contracts, agreements, battle-tested sales scripts, and more. Access to the exclusive private mastermind community. Real-life software and tools that I've built for you guys, including the financial planner, revenue calculator, outreach tracker, and other 6 tools, as well as weekly live Q&A calls with dedicated coaches and recordings of not only the past Q&A calls, but Q&A calls going back years. Now, I was always against charging low prices for results-oriented programs, because really the less you pay, the less you commit yourself to get results. And that's actually why our higher level programs for already established and existing agency owners cost anywhere from $6,000 to $25,000. Now, as I said, these programs are also tailored for agency owners who have already reached the 6-figure mark. But after months of trying, my team convinced me that we needed to make Agency Navigator accessible to the people who are just starting out, because they are the ones who need it the most. Now, the program was first set to sell at $3,500. However, I know that this price will be out of reach for far too many. So that's not the price you're actually going to be paying today. In fact, it's not even half of it. I've decided that when you enroll in Agency Navigator today, instead of paying the full $3,500, you're going to get it for only $1,499. And that's not all, because we plan to move Agency Navigator to a yearly subscription very soon. This means that for people to get continuous access to the program, the exclusive mastermind community, the templates, the Q&As, and all the tools, they're actually going to have to pay a yearly fee of $1,499. And look, the reason that I've done that is because for the last few years, I've actually run Great Agency almost like a charity, not including the fact that in the last 2 years, I've actually taken Great Agency profits and used that to build schools for 1,800 kids in Nepal. That money aside, the rest of Great Agency, I do really stupid stuff like spending over $1 million on a custom platform just to improve my customers' experience. A home studio like this with multiple camera sliders, all this equipment costs upwards of $50,000 just to record the program, and that's not to include, and yes, I cannot believe I'm saying this, $1.2 million. That is my staff cost at Great Agency. We have a massive team because for me, your results come before anything else, which is why somewhere in the near future, I'm actually gonna make that $1,499 a yearly subscription. But for now, you're pretty lucky. And let me tell you why. Because if you want to get lifetime access to the exclusive mastermind community, to all the tools, as well as the complete Agency Navigator program that will teach you how to build your agency from $0 to $10,000 a month in record time, today is really your best bet. I mean, look, maybe even a few weeks from now, this offer might not be available anymore, and I would have already moved to our yearly subscription model. And just remember, right now in 2022, at this exact moment, we're living the best moment in history to start your online ROI marketing agency. There was never before such a huge demand from businesses for this type of service. Now, this means the more you wait, the more you're losing out on 4-figure monthly commissions that you could be getting paid today by your clients. And by the way, businesses have already included these services in their marketing budget for 2022. This means that they're going to spend this money either way. So if you're not the one getting paid the 4-figure monthly commissions, they're simply going to be paid to someone else who decided to take action instead. So you can either be the one taking action yourself and getting what's yours, or you can be the one sitting back and watching others succeed. The choice is yours, really. So if you want to learn how to start a $10,000 a month agency from scratch, click the button below this video and get lifetime access to Agency Navigator now. Now, in case you have any questions that were not answered in this video, or you want to use a different payment method that's not available on our checkout, like PayPal or crypto, you can actually book in a call with our student integration manager, and he will personally help you with your situation. And you can actually find a link to book in that call on the Agency Navigator homepage, and that is the first link in the description. I'm also going to add a button on there so you can actually send us a WhatsApp message directly. Once again, if you have any questions or queries or don't understand certain aspects of the business model. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for sticking around until this point, and I really just want to remind you that in 2022, there's so much opportunity out there, and it is yours for the taking. So on that note, I'd love to see you guys inside of Agency Navigator, and I'll speak to you soon.